Is exactly 1:35 and recording has started. Hi everyone. Um, this is for the elementary level, where this is for the teaching arts integration with technology. Um, I'll just introduce myself. I'm Mika Nakano. I'm the arts integration resource teacher at Brooklyn Park Middle School. But I love younger ones, and I think arts integration is super important. There are great ways to do it. And real quick before we head to McKenna,
Give me,
location.
yeah, I forgot to relocate. But hello,
Hello.
everyone. My name is um, Corlina McKenna. I am I'm an OIT teacher specialist, so I work with technology integration all over the county. I primarily work with the high schools, but I do a lot of PD with all of our secondary schools. And I have had the pleasure of getting to work with Miss Nakano um, at Brooklyn Park Middle when I taught there. So, we're looking to have a fantastic session for you. I think arts integration is one of those things that can be both misunderstood, but it is such a powerful way to amplify using technology for student demonstration of student learning. So we are gonna get started.
We don't need that music.
And we're gonna make our own.
Exactly. That's right. Yes, Sam, that got me kind of chill, but also sleepy. So let me shake it off real quick. So today we're going to have our little I can't statement, explore the 3 different levels of arts integration, and quick backstory. So again, Mika Nakano, for those of you that just joined us, and I'm like specifically excited to share with you guys, elementary schools, about arts integration because that's actually how I got into it. The last time I ever got arts with my lesson, like integrated, it's in my fourth grade teacher, Ms. Morantz. Like she did arts with everything that she has taught, even if it's integrated or separate. And I actually wanted to be an elementary school teacher because I felt like that was the best way to teach, was to incorporate the arts. But I didn't realize there was a whole thing, a research done since the 80s and 70s about the impact of arts integration. And I'm going to help you break it down to understanding what arts integration is and the 3 different levels of getting to the high level to do it. We are also going to lean into be having you as e-coaches, be creative communicators by demonstrating what you learned today using WeVideo and Adobe Express.
Yay.
So we're going to do a quick practice with an artful thinking routine. We'll just kind of exercise our brains a little bit and get started with an activity called headline. So look at this image in front of you on the left and um, take a second to think about, if you were to give this image a title or a headline, what would you call it?
Or a clickbait.
Yes. Or yes, for some of our students, they might know, like, if instead of saying like, what's the title for this, like what clickbait title would you give this?
I've decided this should be called the clickbait routine, but that's just me.
And you can put it in the chat or verbally share. We're just looking at the image to the left.
Ooh, I like that, Miss Runk. It's a nice image to round out our day, you know? Ooh. Got a little rhyming there.
I love that these are slowly becoming inspirational posters.
Retirement, yes.
Yes. And as we read, some of our colleagues, some of these, I can almost smell it too with the salt in the ocean. Um, give yourself a moment then to also explain, sharing 2 reasons that support your answer. So, stranded in paradise. Ooh, what makes you think stranded? Like, what are the 2 reasons?
I feel like I'm hiding in paradise.
I know. They're like we're starting to project a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Relaxation station. Sit back and relax. Share 2 reasons that support your answer. And if you haven't shared one, you can even think about, why your colleagues also gave you their advice. Mhm.
Hardly working, you know? What is it? Hardly working too hard? I don't know. Something like that.
Something, yep. Mm. And Miss Pearson, I like that you are really looking into he looks relaxed. You're looking at the body language, the subject of the piece, and I like connecting with where you come from on, like, he seems, like, too relaxed to be thinking about work, like, he's got this. It is separate from work because the body language shows me something else. For Caitlin, okay, I love that you're looking at the texture in the background with the color, so you know that's the breeze, even with the trees and sunshine in a hammock. I like that you're also kind of looking into, yeah, like the weather and some of the elements, right? The tropical elements makes it really summery. Great connection with symbols there. Miss Smith, he looks relaxed. Another body language in the subject. Also, maybe even looking at facial expressions. He's situated in a certain spot. Yes. In fact, if you notice, the artist kind of put the subject a little bit lower than the center, also giving a little weight. Also framing it so that it looks like a station, right? Yes, Lucy, I agree with you about the smiling and enjoying himself, smile like associating facial features with emotions. Um, and it's I hope you notice also what I'm modeling right now is I'm pulling the responses given from you guys and connecting it to some of the content language I might be giving. Like maybe I shared about framing the tropical trees. You notice how it's kind of more like an almost like an umbrella, right? That does make it seem like it's in a station. Or the fact that he's in a hammock. We look at the body language. It does make me think about relaxation. He's almost like he could fall asleep right there. We don't know. Maybe he's smiling with his mouth open, smiling. We don't know. But we can associate with emotions and facial expressions. Ms. Runk, I imagine it's a deserted island and he's relaxing. In fact, I'll also say your reasoning with the deserted island. I could even push it a little more like, what makes you think it's deserted? But you're right, there are no buildings, right? It's just the island and the person. Um, really? Yes. So what he's doing. So thank you guys. This was an artful thinking routine. And I just instead of typically with warm-ups, I think there's a little bit more wriggle room with elementary school where you could just like pull a lot of reactions from students and have them support. Notice how I said share 2 reasons, validating that what you're answering, you are correct. If you could give me like your becauses, right? Your because, and I'm not asking for a specific color. I'm not asking for a specific content like subject or setting. I'm pulling your answers and connecting it with them to validate one answer, and also then pulling it into and centering to the next topic, which today we're going to talk about mood a little bit, about your content and connecting with the arts. So thank you. We are going to move on. And before we move on, oh, there you go. That was the actual title. But we could even talk about fonts if you want to, maybe with us for elementary school. So what is AI? Specifically, arts integration. So arts integration is an approach to teaching and learning in which the arts are the catalyst, big word, and vehicle for learning. So what I mean by that is if you think about a lot of the roadblocks or issues you might face when teaching, we either face students not engaged, they're not participating. We can assume that they're shy or they don't feel comfortable talking or they're easily distracted, right? Participation in the same activity. Another thing is that they can tell you answer, but they don't have a either the tool set or practice in responding with a critical thinking why they gave you the answer or even the deeper thinking. And some of them is the retention. I could tell you right now, if you ask me what I had for breakfast, I don't remember. I wasn't intentional with remembering. And those 3 things that I mentioned, the motivation, the engagement, and retention, all marks um, successful. And the research has shown that arts integration helps with students' participation. It helps with their motivation, but also like with their deeper critical thinking, just like how you even did on the second part of headline, gave you cues for it, and retention. I could tell you right now, so I work in a middle school and we're doing a reflective first marking period. What did you learn? What did you enjoy? Oftentimes, the kids might not tell me exactly what it is that they learned, but they will say the watercolor lesson on the Black Plague or the dance lesson we did with water cycle. Like they are able to remember the experiences. And I'll also say this for especially for elementary school, it teaches them with the critical thinking. And oftentimes with elementary, there's a lot more practice with like social relationships that gets fostered and kind of encouraged because you're bound to make mistakes when you do the arts and you get to be then learning from it because it's not just right or wrong answer. It's kind of right or wrong and explain how to make it better. It's all about the process. Whew. So arts integration. Now we know the why. The how can be seen in three different levels. Think of it as a ladder. The bottom level is the easy way in. We just practiced it, excuse me, with oh gosh. Sorry, my phone is like connected to the computer. Anyway, the bottom level is learning with the arts. We practiced with our artful thinking routine. We looked at an image of visual art and we were able to kind of connect it with ourselves. And I was able to again pull in content with your answers. We're learning with the arts, right? A lot of us do that. I know most often we see sometimes doing storybooks, starting a lesson with books, and then having students relate to it. That's level one. You're already on the right track. You're building critical thinking and empathy. Level two is learning in the arts, which I think a lot of teachers already hit and do, but with a little bit of tweaking. Level two really hits on positive motivation and engagement, but it kind of stops there. When you learn in the arts, and I'll give you an example what I mean by that. It kind of stops there, and it you lose the retention to get to level three. So today we're going to go over how to get from level two to level three, and we're also going to experience and practice level three. Okay, so level two, again, it's your content, art form. Here are some examples that you might have already done in your class. Let's say you learned a social studies like history and a timeline. You do a coloring page. Fantastic. You did your content and now you colored it, but it's separate. Drawing your interpretation. Sometimes we do with our students on chunking with paragraphs and stories or sentence starters where we have the students read the sentence, stop and draw, right? But we are not grading the drawing part. We didn't teach them how to synthesize imagery to text. We didn't teach them symbolism. So that's why I keep them separate. You can't really grade on their drawing or how they color, unless that's a skill set you taught and your content's there. And third example I see often teachers do are song parodies where there's an existing song and you change the lyrics in it. Very fun activity, but I'm going to show you a way to add the part that makes it level three so there's more retention and there's more risk taking for students to build their critical thinking and for them to also demonstrate their understanding of your content better. Okay, I went a little fast with level one and two. I'm going to pause and ask, let it sink into your brains. Any questions so far?
Because now we're getting to the good stuff.
Yes. I'll take the silence as a no, we can move on. Great. Level three. So two separate things, art form and content. And when it merges together, when you start teaching your content through the arts, okay, what I mean by that is when you're constructing or demonstrating understanding and having kids demonstrate their understanding of your content, okay, that let's say, for example, you're learning about the water cycle. Instead of just having them do a comic, you can also have them create a dance that follows along and they could tell you, moved really fast here because we're the raindrops. And we slow down because we went to the river. They're demonstrating their understanding through the arts and it hits on so many more sensories that it builds retention for that lesson. We are going to do a practice today related to music.
Yeah, and I will say we've had many conversations in our office about arts integration, and I got it from my elementary, the elementary specialists who, said the classic, you know, in elementary, we don't do arts integration because that's in triple E classes, right? Arts integration, we don't have time for that. We've got all these other things. And the one thing I would have to say to that is the way arts is actually integrated into your lesson is it's not another thing. It takes, depending on what you are doing with your arts lesson, the arts lesson can be anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes of your lesson to teach them the arts concept before you then go into the content and the creation of whatever you're asking them to create using that concept. It also means we can evaluate them on their application of that concept. So sometimes in our rubrics, we'll have things like creativity. Creativity is very subjective, right? But if I am teaching you about movement and how movement is related to, time, then I can actually evaluate what you've created on that element. The best example I can give, and while it's a middle school example, my students did a project where they learned about warm and cool colors. Right, warm colors are oranges, yellows, and reds. Cool colors are your purples, blues, and they then took that. So that whole part of that lesson took maybe 5 to 10 minutes just to sort of, we did some examples. They looked at some art, talked about why this picture looked, they had warm feelings from it and why this picture had cool feelings. And then we applied it to learning about seasons. And they had the sun and the earth, and they used that color gradient to communicate how the earth's rays hit the earth and where the earth would be warmer and where it would be cooler based on the earth's rays. And so they use that understanding of warm and cool colors in order to do that. It was a super fun lesson for the kids. They really enjoyed it. And actually teaching them about warm and cool colors took a very small chunk of time out of my overall lesson. So it's something that can be integrated fairly easily into your actual lesson. And today, what we're going to do is I'm really excited because it's music, which we oftentimes, I feel like, don't necessarily think about when we think about arts integration. It's very easy to think about shape and color and form and composition. But we do have dance, we do have music. And so, Mika, if you'll hop to the next slide, and then I will let you take over. Mika's going to actually walk you through the first part of the actual arts lesson. So it's going to be a little bit longer because it's music. And do any of you play musical instruments or know how to read music? Anybody? Ooh, Lucy. Yes, great, because I did not, and I do not, and I'm going to make that very clear. But Mika's going to teach us in the next 10 minutes how to read music, and we're going to apply that to a project. So, Mika, go ahead.
Okay, so hi guys. Before we even introduce you music, let's just go to the simple, basic of music is that there's going to be a beat and the rhythm is the pattern, right? And even in our language and the words, like Shakespeare knew this, like the words itself has a rhythm to it. And so I'm going to break that into 3 different words and we're going to break it down with syllables. So T is 1 syllable. I'll show you with a clap. T, coffee is 2 syllables. Coffee, and Coca-Cola is 4 syllables. Coca-Cola, right? Now, in a beat though, so this little box from left to right, excuse me, I should do it on this screen. Left to right is 1 measure. And the rhythm is the different patterns. And so there are 4 beats in a measure. So it would be T, 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 T. Now notice with the 2 syllables, we're going to squeeze it in with 2 um, like beats into that. So it would be coffee, 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 coffee. And Coca-Cola, it's a little bit faster. Coca-Cola, 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 Coca-Cola. Right? And if you could follow along, I'm gonna jumble it up a little bit, but all you have to remember is that T, T, it's this tempo. And coffee, 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 and Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola. See that? We broke down the sounds and we fit it all in. All right, I think we're ready. Give this a try. All right, I'm going to read out loud and clap along from left to right the first 3 rows. But the 4th row, I won't be speaking, but I'll be clapping along. Okay, let's see if you can do it. And tea, coffee, Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola, coffee, coffee, tea, coffee, Coca-Cola. Yay! Wasn't that fun? And I'll say this, when kids do it, they're so hyper focused. Even if they were in the middle of a sentence, like talking to a friend, they just start like, what is happening? Such a great attention grabber. Um, so that's what music is. It's all just breaking into different rhythms and beats. And um, if you translate the things that you're already familiar with, tea, coffee, Coca-Cola, and of course, you're more than welcome to change these words to whatever your that's more appropriate for your children. Um, like tea, I don't know, like coffee could be chocolate, candy for tea. But these are music notes. So for tea, it is this one little leg called a quarter note because there are four beats in one measure. So it's a quarter. Coffee is two legs where you kind of start hopping over. It's a little bit faster. It's like almost like a power walk. It's how I see it. And then Coca-Cola, it's almost like a sprint now. Coca-Cola, it's 16th notes. And if you notice, even with these maths, we have done arts integration with the higher elementary on fractions. When we start breaking it down, it'll make sense when you see it in a graph like this. A whole note is four counts, so of one note, like that's four beats, but held in one note. And then half is just two of those beats in one. Quarter notes, right? T, 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 T. And halving it again, breaking it half again. Eighth note, B, coffee, coffee, coffee. And 16th, we broke it down even more. Coca-Cola, 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 Coca-Cola. Today we're only going to focus on the last three, so don't worry about the half note or the whole note of having to hold your beat down, because today we're only going to focus on rhythm and beats. Alrighty. Whew. Did you learn and memorize the musical notes or symbols? And go back again.
I told you it was hard, everyone. I did warn everyone. We chose the complicated one for y'all.
And then Lucy's like, I got this.
Yeah.
Right. I'm just gonna go back to
She's like,
showing.
I didn't know I was going to learn how to teach my content with music today, but I'm stoked.
You know what? I just came up with another visual. Quarter notes are like you holding your teacup with your pinky up, so it's tea.
There you go.
Coffee, you're getting a little jittery, and Coca-Cola, like you're getting real jittery here now.
There you go.
It's just I'm always singing, and they're like, "Can you please stop?"
Yeah. Well, now you're going to be like, you guys are going to sing with me, and it's going to be about learning. Exactly. No, these are really fun lessons to do with kids, and we'll do this next part, and we've got some great scaffolds for you guys to share with you all too, so you can actually pull this off.
So let's
yeah.
practice again. We'll do the first two rows. I'll say the words, but the last row I will not say. Okay, and the words I will say is going to be tea, Coca-Cola, coffee. All right. So y'all ready? Yes, Miss Mika. Great. And tea, Coca-Cola, coffee, tea, coffee, tea, coffee. Sorry, tea. I even messed up on the rhythm. My fault. We did
Yeah,
it.
I was very off at the end, but that's par for the course. It's fine.
Yay. But if you're like, well, what if the kids don't, relate to tea or coffee or Coca-Cola? Well, once you learn and once you teach them these rhythms, or excuse me, right, the counts, um, we could have them apply their own choices and really
Yeah.
practice those rhythms on their own. So McKenna, take it away.
Yes.
Stop
I'm
present.
going to, yeah, and I'm going to take over. You guys are going to watch me jump around on my screen kind of a lot because I want to make sure that as elementary teachers, you have all the scaffolds that you possibly could need to do this. The first thing I'm going to share with you to do this um, is a Wixie template. So this Wixie template that I have just shared with you this is a direct link that I dropped in chat, but you can also find it. I'm assuming as elementary school teachers, you're at least familiar with Wixie. You can go to our Anne Arundel County Public School template library and go to Arts Integration, and you can find this lovely template here. It has been customized for you so that if you click on your little this one, I'm gonna have to fix the 16th note. It's supposed to say Coca-Cola. But the 8th note does say coffee and your quarter note does say tea. But I'm gonna have to go in and actually like edit the file. So this is what we can do and what we are being asked to do here is sort of create two measures, right? So we are just going to drag and drop our notes into our onto our screen. Okay, so take a moment. Oop, you guys are gonna see my cheat sheet over here. There we go. So you can take a moment to sort of drag these elements onto your screen. All right. To create, you can just do 2 rows if you would like. But we are gonna do that. Let's see. And oh, no, I don't want that one. This one, and I want a 16th notes in there somewhere. There we go. Yeah, so we should have our base of our music. Now there are 2 ways to do this. You could have the students actually do the words first, if that is easier for your students to kind of come up with the words and then count the syllables and then match the notes to the syllables. I will mention, I know that I feel like it's taboo. No one ever talks about Microsoft Office ever. But there's a really cool feature if you go to your OneDrive on ClassLink and you open up a Word file. This was really, we use this with my COTOT students, right, for word parts and syllables, because sometimes it was the syllables that caught the kids, that like really limited the students, right, and getting the content, and we don't want that to be the limiting factor here, right? The fact that students struggle with counting syllables. So I have my little song poem. Let me increase my view here. I have my little poem ready to go. Today we are here learning about using cool technology. All right. And so if I go ahead and open up my Microsoft file, right? I can then go to, under view, I can go to immersive reader. Has anyone used immersive reader before, or at least heard about it today, perhaps? Because it does come up in a lot of our applications, right? So what I can show my students, right, is by going to the not reading preferences, grammar options, which is the center one. I can actually break these words up by syllable, right? And it will show the students the syllables that are here. So I have my 2 syllable, 1, 1, 2, about, which technically should just be bout, but I don't know if it's really going to like me using a fake word. And then using cool technology, which is our 4 count, our 16th note, right? So this is one of those scaffolds that you can use to do that if you were doing something where you wanted students to identify like verbs right in there, or adverbs, because you can do this very similar thing and say, we're going to create a song and we want to make sure we're using a lot of imagery, or we're practicing our nouns. Students can kind of check their work. And so it's a really neat tool that you can just sort of use to help so that this isn't blocking them from being able to use this. So I'm going to go back over to my Wixie and type in my today we are here learning about. Today we are here learning about, what was it? Oh, using cool technology. Now, this can be done on obviously this can be done on pencil and paper, but when we think about students and their dexterity and being able to actually write these music notes and it makes sense, sometimes giving them kind of a graphic organizer like this is helpful, right? They don't have to write the notes. It has all the kind of scaffolds built in. So this template is available. for you. And, if I do this, if I clap, yes, if it says demo, are you talking about in Wixie, Merly? Or Miss Marley, I think, maybe, Marley? There should
Yes.
be a button that says customize on the top of your Wixie screen, and you can click that, and it'll open it up in your Wixie. Yeah, let's see. Today we are here learning about using cool technology. I'm always a little slower, but I have now both put my music and my lyrics together, which is cool. And that's what takes us to our level 3, because level 2 would be having the music and plugging in the words, or vice versa. But we have actually created the rhythm, and not only we've created the rhythm, and we have created our lyrics. So what you do with it next is a little bit up to you. We are in Wixie, so you could add another page and have your students create an album cover for their cool song, or which I think for our upper elementary, creating an album cover is certainly a fun way to kind of put this together. As we know, in Wixie, you can record your audio, right? Sorry, it's not for upper elementary, for our primary elementary. Depending on how you scaffold this, right? They could create their album cover. You could actually have them record the sound, right? Let's see. Today we are here learning about using cool technology. I didn't quite get that right. But, it's again, music's not exactly my forte. But uh, students can actually just include their audio recording right here, and they could add another page with their album cover, and you have a really cool kind of project. So what I'm going to give you all time to do is I'm going to give you about 4 minutes. Let's say I'll set a timer for 4 minutes to come up with your rhythm, and then your 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 lyrics, as we call. Our goal would be to have the last 2 boxes rhyme. Mine did not rhyme. I made this on the fly, so I was not prepared to have things rhyme. But we're gonna give you 4 minutes for you to actually create your own rhythm and lyrics. You only need to do 2 rows. If you do more, that's great. And then, yeah, we'll start with that. All right, everybody. Oh, sorry, wrong one. And I'm gonna, set my timer here. I'm even gonna stop presenting my screen. If anyone wants to present their screen, it should allow you to do it. We can take a look.
And for those that took a step away, I am going to actually just present the screen because I wrote down the instructions. For those that just stepped away and came back, we're doing ourselves a little challenge. And I think it's been about a minute.
Yeah, we have about a minute and a half left.
Okay.
Or a little bit more than that.
There you go. Take the time to drag and drop notes in, add text to match syllable. Here's a little challenge.
I'm not trying to say I was going to say we were doing this with like word wall with like a vocabulary word you had, but say la vie, here we are. Hopefully we want content. Yeah. It's true. And if you get it done, feel free to even though Ms. Nakano is already sharing her screen, you can select your share button. Up to 2 people on a Google Meet can share a screen at a time. So feel free to show us, or you can put the share link for your Wixie in the chat. Those would be fun. All right, let's see what we got, Lucy. Hey, all right. I like it. I like it. I like it. Miss Nakano, are you still presenting by chance? No, that's okay.
I am not. Wait, can we
Ah.
see with the clap? Where'd it go? I wanted to.
Oh, that's true. I was going to share Miss Kelsey's. Let's see. It's true. I am having fun learning about arts. Ooh, integration. Yeah, nice. Excellent. This is great. We appreciate you sharing yours with us. Anyone else care to share what they have done? I can stop presenting. So hopefully you can see how this could be used. If you gave students a topic, whether you were making a summary, whether you were having them, uh, use the water cycle. It's also okay. Miss Nakano and I went back and forth on this, right? Using something like Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star in our presentation, right? To get students started, especially when, we want to make sure we're keeping in mind the age of our students and keeping it age appropriate. This may be too complex for primary, but appropriate for upper elementary. Certainly, if you're actually learning about syllables and things like this, it's always great to have those tie-ins. In this case, when one of my teachers used this, it was just a fun way to do a summative assessment about the students' understanding of an overarching topic. So they made a song about the overarching topic, and that was the graded assessment. That was the graded item for that benchmark of learning, was take all this knowledge. There are a couple bullet points. Here's what your song needs to include. And they had that. Now, while you can use Wixie to do this, you also can use WeVideo. So for our upper elementary, if you open WeVideo and go to templates, and you go to My Templates, there is a template that you have access to called Songwriting Rhythm. And I'm going to have you all go into here, and we're going to spend a little bit of time playing around. So if your students have used Wixie to create that slide or even that title page, right? They can either type their title in here, or they could download the image and upload it to have their title and their name. But what you will find is this has already been sort of outlined. This template can be shared with students, and it's already been outlined with kind of that 4-count measure and these seconds, right, which are going to be equivalent to when we were working in Wixie, each one of these boxes, right? That's that 1, 2, 3, 4. So if we go into here, we can also use, I can go into text and pull down a sample text. Because I have these hash marks at the bottom. Oops, sorry, I'm not sharing the right tab. My bad. At the bottom, it's actually really easy to line up these are text boxes. Whoops. Sorry, my computer's got a lot going on. You can also, if your students are familiar with how to use copy and paste, you can actually use copy and paste in WeVideo. Oops. Let me get it all the way to the end. Oops. Okay. Should be able to paste it. There we go. So what we can do is whatever text you have, if you want to open up one of these, you can go in and type in your lyrics. Sorry, my computer is being nice and slow today. Oh, that was supposed to be today. Today. The way we designed these was, it is not that you have to, these will get, the bottom rows here will get covered up by any content that you put on top. So you don't necessarily have to, students wouldn't have to delete these placeholders, right? And you can always take this template, add more scaffolds to it, and give that to your students depending on where they are. Essentially what we're allowing them to do is type in their lyrics. Again, this is yet another way to use something like WeVideo. We talked about how to use it in Wixie. About, what was it? We are here. Oh, using. I don't know why I can't ever remember using. That's oh. Our text in here. Obviously, I'm able to work pretty fast. I don't know how many of you have used WeVideo. Having some templates is sorry, excuse me, always nice. So now I've got my it's going to play for me our song. And I have a couple options because I am able to record the audio. If I go back to my project bin, I can narrate. So I'm going to try to narrate this, and we're going to see how it goes, friends. But I make no promises that it's actually going to work. But let's see. I'm going to record. Wait, my first measure. Today we are here learning about using cool technology. I was a little, that first 4 seconds went fast. Oh no, did I not click save? Rude. So rude. All right, I'll do it one more time. That's terrible. Okay. Sorry, everyone. You got to listen to me again. Today, we are here learning about using cool technology. I'm making sure I click save. There it goes. Okay. So I should have my lyrics. And if I were to play it, which I think you all will be able to hear it. Today, sorry, I'm just going to trim that a little bit because it's going to drive me nuts that it's not actually lined up. But I will jump ahead. Today, we are here learning about using cool technology. Got it. So I got my song in there. From here, I can add videos or images to we've got for video clips for learning. But essentially, I get to make kind of a fun little music video. All right, which is never a horrible thing, right? Yep. Today, we are here learning about using cool technology. So ideally, your students would be able to plug in, if you're doing something content-based, they'd be able to plug in the images and clips from that. So we have about 5 minutes left. I want to give you the opportunity to get into WeVideo and find that template. Oh, sorry, we have 10 minutes left. Or I'm going to give you 5 minutes because we do have 5 more minutes of some wrap-up things and some other things we have from Miss Nakano. Sarah, when you about 5 minutes, let me know if you can't find the template. And sorry about my mess up with, I was supposed to say bout, not about, because it's 2 syllables, but bout. It's supposed to be just my quarter note. But yeah, I'm going to set another 4-minute timer.
Kenna, did you check the chat real quick?
Yes, yeah, the charter schools. Yeah, those are going to be charter schools work a little bit differently. All of your subscriptions are bought by your school. So I don't know if you have a video editing school, but if you have Wixie, you certainly could have your students make, they could still do their what did we say? The album cover, right? They can still make an album cover and do that in Wixie, and then have the song as their next slide and still do all of the recording. They just wouldn't have a live. Well, actually, in Wixie you can download it as an MP4, so it could play like that, but it would show the album and then it would go to the next slide and it would play the audio. But yeah. I'm just going to pull in some fun clips. You can use Adobe Express to do it. You just can't make your students a template. That's all. But you can do audio recording and things in Adobe Express. Has anyone made any fun clips in WeVideo? Or as I like to say, does anyone does this seem like a reasonable thing to be able to use with your students to have them review or demonstrate understanding of a concept? Oh, great. I mean, a lot of my students in the middle school, they used a lot of WeVideo, I think because they used a lot of it during COVID. And so the 7th graders now were or last year we're in 3rd or 4th grade during the COVID times. And so they came in actually being very savvy with a lot of these tools, whether it was Wixie or WeVideo. A lot of them came in and were, this wasn't the part that hung them up. All right, we're about 30 seconds left. Yeah, I find templates and like the scaffolds and things like that, it really, I think even with like primary kids, I could see even using Wixie or like a smart notebook as a smart board and making it together as a class. coming up with your whole class song and talking about rhyming and rhyme schemes, because you can come up with the rhyme first and then apply the music notes, right? And then everyone can kind of go through clapping. And I think it's really that's what's fun, I think, about arts integration. It's the angle in which you come into it. There's so many different pathways in, but it all results in student engagement and retention and just being excited about creating something from scratch, which even doing this is exciting to me, because Mika and she had to teach me these music notes for like an hour because I'm just was very dense. I don't have a child's absorbent brain, and I was like, Mika, this is so hard. I can't. I'm never gonna be able to do this. The hardest thing I did this year was learn these music notes.
You did it and you let it. Hooray!
Yay! All right, I'm gonna let you sign us off here and tell these lovely, lovely folks all the other amazing resources that you have for them.
Sure, but first, again, like, thank you, McKenna, for sharing the music part. I know that was like a big challenge, and also thanks to the two brave colleagues that share their work, especially being thrown like new templates and new apps. Like, it's definitely more scary to do it on the spot. So thank you for sharing. I loved seeing the examples. And those of you who faced and kind of gave up or were like, okay, I need to take a break and work on it later because you felt like you had a roadblock. I want you to take that into account of like what was it about it? Was it the access to technology, the time frame? And use that opportunity to think about how you would modify it for your students. Because if you as an adult face something where you're like, okay, I'm a little bit needing a break or it just didn't work out, like your students are definitely going to experience it too. So thank you for trying it out. These are 5 more lesson and resources that we have done with different classes. Some like level 1 where there's like a whole bunch of resources in discovery education for the artful thinking routine, right? The lower level of the ladder. Level 2 is kind of doing the arts with your content. So it's not quite level 3. You might not get the retention, but you are still engaging with motivation with students. And hopefully, now that you experienced level 3, where you did your demonstration of understanding through music, in today's case, you'll remember today's PD. And here are some more opportunities doing mood and music. We also have done the album cover, right? Like, what if the kids made the Jimmy Buffett album? Like, that's so cool. And Soundscape 1 is a little bit related to music, but it's more about the sounds and environment. In that section, it's actually going to be led by Lacey Shepard, our arts integration specialist for the county. And that's happening at 2:40 on the 5th session. So I hope you could join her lesson on that. In fact, if you click one more for me, McKenna.
Oh, yep. Sorry. There we go. I was just looking for Lacey's session.
Oh, go back.
Oh, sorry.
Go back one. Oh, weird. I had like a text like screenshot. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Yeah, we do have a next session with Lacey Shepard teaching arts integration, but through soundscapes, which I think you'll also enjoy.
Yeah, and I think she said that one was really super well situated to. It says pre-K through 12, but Lacey specializes in elementary. So if this was something, if you liked the idea of arts integration and you want to see another idea, they are using WeVideo again to do that. And so yeah, that's here. WeVideo Soundscapes. She's leading that, so that should be really cool. I will say, in terms of the song parody is sort of taking what we did but leveling it down, which, depending on your grade level and your student population, or even the teacher's comfort level with being able to do this, that's always, it's okay to do that. Hopefully Miss Nakano and I will be back in the spring to do some visual art AI and technology. Also, in Discovery Education, the Lodge McHammond collection, he does a lot of what would be, I would say, suitable, probably upper elementary, but he's they're not song parodies. He actually creates his own music and writes his own lyrics, but they have the transcripts. So you can do a lot of really cool reading strategies with the music, finding new words, having them illustrate what they're seeing, and then you could have them make their own, because it is original music with original lyrics. And so just some neat stuff to think about. We used to listen to the same song at the start of a lesson cycle. And as the students understood more and more about what he was singing about, they got more and more into the music. And that was really cool to watch. yeah, so all of these will link you to actual lessons and lesson slides that you can use. And there's a bunch of pre-reading strategies linked here. And it is 2:30. I'm going to drop the attendance form in the chat. If you want to screenshot this or anything, here is Miss Nakano's information. Also, these slides and everything else will be included in the session catalog once we get all the recordings up. But yeah, I'm going to stop this recording. Everyone give me 1 second.